Okay, let's talk about Ducati Multistrada 1000 DS. DS is from Dual Spark. This is the Multistrada from 2003, the first one. This bike is quite unique. Many of you might think this bike is good only for the tarmac, to hit kilometers easily, but this is really nice, fun bike. It's quite unique. So many solutions you couldn't find in one bike, and it has a lot of potential. How did I buy this bike? Actually, I have it for 2.5 years, and before that I didn't even know that Multistrada even exists. It is so rare to find it on the street. But at that time, I had a trip to Nordkapp with my fella. And in my garage I had only KTM 990 Adventure, KL 650 Tengai with adjustable suspension, and KTM EXC 450. And already I knew that my KTM, which was usually used for the long trips, it wasn't good enough for that trip, because that trip would be on the pavement mostly. Year before, I've been in the Balkans 2 weeks, and I noticed that this bike, the KTM 990 Adventure, produces a lot of heat when you ride slowly around villages, small towns. It's really hard to cool down, and I knew it. Even on the long trips to get there, it is not that convenient. So I knew it. I want to get some bike to get to the Nordkapp. My colleague didn't have any experience at the off-road riding, so we knew we will go just the standard route through the Norway, and we will come back around the Adriatic Sea up to the Nordkapp, and we will go back through Finland around the Botnik Bay. I found one BMW GS 1100 not that far from me, and then before that trip I thought maybe I will find something else, just to avoid the trip if I will not buy that bike because of something. Then I found interesting ad at the internet. It was Ducati Multistrada 1000 DS, and I thought it is close to that place where I'm going. It's worth to check what is it. Then I started to read about that bike, and I was so surprised that I even didn't know about it. That was so many solutions, so many stuff I didn't even figure out that one bike can have it on board. And for that price, it was available right now. My bike that time cost 2000 euro. Of course, I thought that after that trip I will sell it, like I wanted to do it with the BMW. So before I went for the BMW 1100 to see it, I thought I will go first to see what this Ducati is really. And then I was so surprised. This bike is so unique. It has fully adjustable suspension, rear trim adjuster, tri-clutch, oil cooling, punchy 2-valve engine, car-style timing belts, monolink, injection, trip computer, adjustable lights, tank under seat, oil cooler, car-style oil filter, robust steel frame, great ergonomics, tubeless wheels, storage compartments, and of course, the Motronic timing system. So, why I kept that bike after my trip? I kept that because of convenience I can get on that bike. Easy maintenance, adventure potential for long trips, and finally, the off-road potential, allowing you to travel on gravel roads and with caution, even reach places on the dirt roads. As I said before, this bike is better for me for long travel than KTM 990 Adventure. It is more convenient, especially with long journeys to the destination. Of course, for real off-road riding, I will choose the KTM 990 Adventure, but for long journeys, I prefer Ducati, for sure. This suspension is great for what I ride this bike. I have a comparison to the WP suspension for the last few years, and I know already I can set this bike to be a very soft or so stiff if needed. What makes this bike extremely versatile. I have Showa suspension on it. There was also a model S1000S with Öhlins suspension on it. However, I have a standard Showa option which is good enough for my needs. The weak point of this bike when you go for some gravel or dirt roads is oil filter fitted to the bottom of the engine. It does not protrude beyond the outline of the engine crankcases, but there is a risk of damaging it without securing the bottom of the engine. Unfortunately, there is no option for a proper robust skid plate on the market. So, in that case, DIY skid plate must be made. The ground clearance of this motorcycle is also not the highest, but if you compare it with other motorcycles that are in the adventure class or the old dual sport motorcycles, some have ground clearance even lower than Ducati. It is interesting how this motorcycle behaves on the gravel roads when I compare opening full throttle to my Kawasaki 650 or KTM 990 Adventure. When entering gravel, the rear end often thrashes from side to side before calming down. However, Ducati is calm and goes straight, as if on a string. It is stiff, dynamic, and powerful. So, motorcycle I bought for just one trip to Nordkapp stayed with me for 2.5 years. But Nordkapp was just the beginning. In the next episodes, I tell you how this Ducati performed on the Albanian Trans-Euro Trail, why I ended up riding it right in the Ducati Museum in Bologna, and what my iron body test was like. I also put that bike for more gravel roads to get more speed, more fun, just when my skid plate will be finished. If you don't want to miss it, stay with me.